government needs to, because I saw what the AGOA needs, there's the UAU, all these things. For you even just to go to let's say Huduma and tell them you need a business certificate,
Yes.
you need a Huduma number, you need a PIN, then you need to register your business, you need the PIN for the business, then you need a VAT tax compliance paper, okay? You need, like, there's so many things that barriers, and it's more of information, like you're saying. People are not informed in the communities. And also, I strongly believe that, I feel like in my position as a farmer, our government is not helping us to be able to reach that market, even if they use a lot of money to advertise, like the AGOA thing. They're not doing their best to make sure that the process is a bit lighter for people to be able to trade. They make it a bit difficult so they can make more money for the documentation fee. So that's the problem. If that is solved, then you can be able to trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
The shape of the pineapples. The pineapple grew too big for Ugandans. They said it won't fit the European machine.
Yeah.
That.
Have you seen?
So they said maybe you try to dry your pineapples.
The pineapples here are like tiny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our pineapples grow huge and they are really, and then for you to go and explain to the farmer, let this pineapple, let us remove when it's still small. They're like, it's raw, let it grow. Then it is big, and then, so maybe now the fruit, they say, okay, maybe the dried ones will work. You see? But they could do.
What I want to go back to you. Quality control. Who is setting the guidelines? I want you to educate me. Who's setting the guidelines for quality control? Is that the government there?
Ministry of Agriculture and
Okay.
Trade. Ministry of Trade and Agriculture, they come together and they decide, and so they're the ones who give decisions even to the certifications areas, how to satisfy a farm, how to do.
That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah.
But most East African governments now, we have the East African regulations.
Yeah.
Right.
So the guidelines come like this: EU, international,
Yeah.
probably US. They edit down to what Africans. So there are those that can pass within the country. There are those that can limit that pass in the region. But when it comes to getting it out of the country, then it
Like
becomes
you can trade
tighter.
like right now, Kenya can trade very well with Ghana,
Right.
with pineapples and flowers.
Right.
But Kenya cannot trade with Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire. Like it's more of a political conflict because of business, and that's why we always held behind, because it's not that we don't have enough. It's because the people who make decisions for us are not setting the bar high for Africans to be able to trade across. The same thing with the EAU. They say you can bring dry leaves like vegetables. You can do like we have, like I grow managu. It's tradition. They say you can bring it dry like powder, because you just need to put in the gravy for the stew. But our government they say you have to take fresh leaves. So you see, we are cut. The other parties don't agree.
So they're putting on. They're adding on.
Yeah.
This bureaucracy.
Yes.
Which. Yeah. and there lies the problem.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you change that? Because we know the problem. Because I could sit here for 3 hours and talk about Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, but how do we're here now. There's a brain trust. How do we change that? I hear what you're saying. We know the bureaucracy. What are the first steps of changing that to make Kenya an East African powerhouse when it comes to this agricultural business in terms of exports? So when I go inside a farmer's market here, and I pick up maize, I pick up this, I pick up that, and it says made in Kenya, which that's the goal. What do we need to do in Kenya to change that? And what can we do here? Because we're a voice also. We want to be stakeholders to help you change that in Kenya. Who do we need to talk to? Do we need to have a meeting with the ambassador? Do we need to have a meeting with whoever on this end, assist you there and really create one voice. Now let me share with you historically why I'm sharing that with you. Apartheid existed in South Africa. There was a man by the name of Randall Robinson back in the late 80s that was leading a group called Trans-Africa. That was out of DC. That wasn't in South Africa. But he used that platform to educate people and lobby against apartheid to the point it was abolished by 1990. And I always tell everybody here, no matter where they're from, in any parts of the continent, if you want to change home, what can we do here to assist our people back home? That's the question. Because that's bureaucracy. It's unnecessary. Of course, you know it's unnecessary. You and I know it's unnecessary bureaucracy. That's just how most nations are on the continent. Anywhere, it's unnecessary bureaucracy. But how do we change it? That's the challenge question. And that's a very important question. Because we have the tools back home to do imports and exports. Like I shared with you earlier. That's all the education process about getting your stuff here to the US. You just need someone on the ground to help you.
Yeah.
Just like anybody here who's African American want to do business in Uganda, well, who do you know in Uganda to help you in Uganda navigate the process? I don't know anybody. I said, well, you probably want to put a pause on that until you find somebody you can trust. Let me use that last word, trust. Because you can find anybody, and they'll take your money, and nothing will happen. That happens all the time. Find somebody who you can trust. You have a relationship, just like any business. You have a relationship, a relationship with someone that can walk you through the steps. Okay. The thing in Zanzibar, I told you about Pemba Island. That was a lady who I met here in the U.S. who lives there. Says, hey, I want to do a partnership with you guys in Inkster. And I said, that's fine. She gave me she kind of laid it out, the logistics. And I connected her with my library director, and we're off and running. Because I know somebody over there who I can trust that can navigate the whole process. And that's what this boils to, because the reason I'm sharing this with you is because when we are better educated about the situation in Kenya, then we can be a voice here to assist you there. Now, one thing I did not tell anybody in this room, here's the secret. 80% of my organization are women. Yeah, I'm the president, but 80% of the membership are women. I'm huge on women empowerment. And I'm big on African women empowerment. Huge on it. I get criticized for it. Here's why I get credit. For real, you know how our men are. They criticize. You know how our men are. But this is what I tell our men. When you educate a man, you educate an individual. You educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. I believe in educating the whole nation. So I need to empower you and educate you and mentor you and ensure that you're successful, because when you're successful, our nations are successful. Our world is successful. Yes. So when you educate me, what you just said, now I'm going to go home tonight and start researching what you're talking about, and I want to put together some action points. Yes, ma'am.
So what I wanted to say is that now what I was telling you about the problem, I don't know why I'm forgetting things.
That's because you're a genius.
Brains are
Right.
Oh yes, I remember. I
Okay.
wanted to tell you so when you're asking, you're saying that when we know the problem, what do we do about the problem? So one of the things that I would say about how we have been able to take this situation, I realized that if the world wants that, I might have to change the way I do things. For example, I might start doing branding. Because you need to brand your product, you have to do high quality, maybe to check on the seeds, on the pesticides and the fertilizer that I'm using, because there are countries that only take organic.
Yeah.
So I think also as much as we talk about how the government are restricting in other world because they care for the people, we also have to think as Africa, what are we doing wrong? So maybe it's our farming system that is wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to start mobilizing to get mechanization.
Yes.
And starting to get information like, for example, I never knew in Kenya, if you're young, you can buy a tractor from Netherlands duty free. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's all about information, and we need to learn how to change how we're doing things, and not just, for example, you can't take for people dirty potatoes. You need to add value. You wash them and pack them. So there are more people will pay more for that.
Okay.
You know. So I think you also have to change the way you're doing.
And I want to piggyback with a question. Everything you said was valid. I want to piggyback with a question to everybody. What is going on with your education back home that's training you for agricultural business, agricultural technology? Can anybody give me some insight on that? You laughing.
No.
So what's going on in terms of educating, training people for this type of business back home? What's going on with that?
Has anybody had training to
In
be
training.
an agripreneur?
No.
At what level? Because
Wow.
It's more theoretical than practical. I mean,
the
if you are
challenge
not-
that is happening in the training of agriculture things, they are so practical. They need to have models for the students, or if you're training somebody. Now, what has happened over time is resources. Every time, like, either the institutions are profit-minded, or if it's a public university, they say resources. So that's why, like, I was every time here, wow, Michigan has a hospital for the animals. Wow, Michigan has this dairy farm. It's like, wow, like, because we have a veterinary school there, but we are doing theories. It's like an arts college.
Is our college?
I think that what I realized, like Africans, on my
No
opinion,
practical.
Yeah.
we are very good in theoretical. We can sit in a class and people can pass the exams and
Yeah.
get a degree.
Yeah.
But in Nairobi University, a person who has done a bachelor's in horticulture or somebody in landscaping, if you take them to the farm and tell them, do this work, there is no practical. So that is very bad for us because now people just relying on office work and they're not understanding that there's so much value in
So they
technical
understood,
work.
you're saying, which, that's no surprise, a lot of theory,
Yeah.
no practice.
No practice.
Yeah, yes.
Those who are
underline-
practicing don't have the benefit of the theory sometimes.
That's-
Because
yeah.
You're just kind of bumping around and trying to find your own solution.
To underline, we have this called KBL rather than CBL.
Okay,
KBL is knowledge-based
learning, yes.
Yeah, the competence-based learning. We're giving this, like for my side, the youth, training about entrepreneurship, theoretical, but then after that, we don't know how to guide them. It's like we don't guide them, like we don't provide like the materials, the practical knowledge that they need is not really enough. So it's like they're stuck in there. They have that knowledge in agribusiness or agri-processing, but it's not enough for them. They're just stuck there. They cannot go on. They cannot develop. They cannot move.
And
No,
because
what about, and this is everybody, what about TVET, Technical Vocational Educational Training?
We
It's
had the
starting.
institutions. But what happened again for the case of Uganda,
Okay,
the schools that were giving vocational skills in agriculture are being converted again to university that are going back
to theory.
Are you getting?
wow.
So the infrastructure, the British was the one that set us the system. The houses, the animal houses, like that's why we quarrel with our seniors. I teach in a college of veterinary medicine. They converted the animal houses to offices, like what the British left us
Yeah.
with. Yes, this this is a large animal hospital, or this was supposed to be a dairy processing unit. That's how when the colonialists left, that's how it used to be. Not now in this generation. I had to go to Netherlands, to Belgium, to first learn how to handle the bees, to get full interest inside the bee. Or if not, you go to the field and learn with the farmer after the course.
I think-
So it's
I
either
think-
Belgium
Yeah.
or a farmer.
or a farmer, or you go to, so you find many students applying for short skills courses somewhere. If not, they'll just go and look ignorant before the farmer. You have the science, then you try along the way until you.
And then when it comes to selling that stuff or making a product, you just
So the whole idea is that Africa don't value intelligence. For example, if somebody has a PhD in agriculture, and I've been doing practically on the work, like doing the manual work from the farm. If I come to a room like this, the scholars would prefer to go with the guy with a PhD, and then put me down because they think I'm not being in class, but they don't value the intelligence that somebody has to be able to go and do the actual work. So the difference between the person with a PhD and me is because, let's say I'm more practical and I know the business down. The PhD is very good because they can teach. But most likely in Kenya, if you can find somebody with a degree, but they cannot understand, if you put for them 2 eggs, they will not even know which chicken laid, because they are different.
Yeah.
They don't know even the structure of the shape of the egg. But if you're more practical, then you can understand, and that's one thing they don't value. They don't value intelligence, and that is a setback for us as a continent. So people who are more intelligent in the farms and they know how to do things, they are not valued. And they're not put in front to give direction, and those who are more educated, they say, okay, to make decisions. But they're making decisions on things that they've not yet practically done and know the way, you know?
Okay.
So that's the problem, I think.
Many perspectives.
Yes, sir.
Can I just speak for Africa?
Yes. You can speak for the diaspora if you wish as well. Go ahead.
I think some of our farmers are doing well.
Yeah.
And it's not just that the elite are undermining those that are in the informal sector. The will is there, the intention is right. Our governments like Uganda has programs that are supporting farmers like NADS. There are research institutions like NARO that are developing all these products that they supply with farmers, and there is quite some work that is being done. The challenge is that a lot of politics gets involved, and that is everywhere. It's not just in Uganda. There's a lot of politics. But there is something that is being done, and so to appreciate your presentation and out of respect, I accept that the will and the intention of us bring our products to America. But on the contrary, my view is that we as professional fellows, why we are here, why I'm here, is to get the attention of African Americans and Americans to come and invest in Africa. Why? Is that when you look at our trade, international trade, like Uganda, currently we have a trade deficit of about $300 million in 2019. So what happens is that we are producing for Europe and America, and Europe and America are processing our very own products and then selling them back to us. So we are paying heavily for our very own. So in my view is that if we can draw the attention of the global attention towards Africa to invest in processing infrastructure within Africa, then we as Africans can benefit more than looking at selling out our very own products that are in turn manufactured and then sold back to us at an expensive cost. And that's not just about the product, but the expertise, like getting people, like the benefit that we are getting here is that we are learning from you, and what we get is going back and sharing the same skills and knowledge that we gain from here back to Africa. So in a way, I would highly believe that if that is put up the radar, then we as Africans can benefit more. I'm kind of mind blown by what Blair said, that even in America, there are still desert places. I think Dr. Jose in this fellowship would also love to appreciate if we can get to those places, because personally, the image that I have of America, if I go back and tell someone that someone in America goes hungry, I can guarantee you they will stake some money if that is truth or wrong. So if we get a chance of getting to these places and getting these things, because the perception we have of America is this America on top and everything is okay.
Superpower.
But even in our experiences with our host organizations, the things that we are learning are really watering down what the perception that we had. And this is a good thing, not in a bad way, but it resonates with some of the things that we are experiencing even in our organizations. So that's
Let me,
my suggestion.
and I think your points are extremely valid and on, and just pretty much on point. It's nothing but facts that you were discussing. Just in my city of Inkster, which is a box, pretty much about as big as that book. There's a north side and the south side of Inkster. The entire south side of Inkster does not have one grocery store, not even a market, not a hospital, nothing. You're talking about a real food desert. The grandma can get from the south side, outside, that's just how it is. These things are real. There are certain neighborhoods in Detroit, large city in the state of Michigan, that are food deserts. I'm not making this up.
In Lansing, right?
In Lansing. In terms of African Americans invested on the continent of Africa, I'm gonna tell you this quick story. Almost 2 years ago, I was in Nigeria for my sister's wedding. You know how Africa is sometimes. There's no electricity.
Yes.
I'm sitting on my cousin's porch. I am texting a friend of mine here in Detroit. Hey, he's an electrician. Hey, I think I'm gonna show you some pictures of where I'm at. I showed him the pictures. He said, why are you showing me these pictures? I said, because you're an electrician, they need electricity. You need to set up a solar system, because he understands renewable energy. He said, where are you getting at? I'm trying to teach you how to retire early. The morale of the story was, if you're investing in Africa, the possibilities are endless. And when he connected the dots, he realized that he had to get over to Nigeria. I told him, go anywhere. It doesn't even have to be Nigeria. Just go anywhere. Because you're right about African Americans connecting up. But see, that goes back to education. Because just like your perception of America is this, you'll be surprised. She can, this is my witness. You'll be surprised. How many African Americans have no desire to go to Africa to do anything? Because of the perception.
And also, like, I mean, I don't know about your friend in particular, but there are people here who have these skills who aren't used in these big industries that are like dominating for whatever reason, and that they can also be used back in Nigeria or Uganda or wherever. And then you all have these skills too. And so, like, I love this idea, this concept, this working, actual on the ground message of there's so much more we could do for each other if we just went and asked, how's the electricity going on today? You know, or what is that food that y'all passed Inkster on the way from the airport, right?
That's correct.
So y'all passed these cities. I mean, you didn't go down to Detroit. You'll see it next year, and it's way better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll see some of these things where you're just like, this is America. This is what we're trying to. But yeah, this is what we're still trying to fight for and still trying to fight with, and we can do it so much better together.
Again, 40% of my city is in poverty. 40%.
On what's poverty?
Only. Now hold on. Here's the next thing I'm gonna tell you. Only 8% of the population have a bachelor's degree. Less than 2% have a graduate degree. This is Inkster.
Why?
Because there's no educational system in that city anymore. No autonomous educational school district. And because the state dissolved it.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean the buck stops there. What it means is that someone needs to, there's an opportunity to create another district, another school, another system. And that's where I come in at when we talk about vocational education, because that's the 21st century thing. I work in a community college. Some of you guys back home call it polytechnic. Okay,
TVETs.
same thing. I work in that system. Everything is about skilled trades.
Yes.
In this state alone, we are lacking 800,000 skilled trade jobs a year in this state. 800,000. That's in Michigan. Now you go back home and you're telling me what you've been telling me the last several minutes about how there's no true investment in educating our community, our population back home about agricultural business, agricultural technology to till the land, the earth, so that way we can do things in a 21st century manner because politics get in the way.
That's 800,000 people from East Africa
No, 800,000.
could come in here to put in.
I would love to be the one to lead that way. I would love to take that. I will be ridiculed. They will threaten me, but we'll get that job done. I love to do that. That's the kind of stuff I love to do. And the thing is, 800,000. Let's think about 800,000 East Africans taking those jobs, learning the skilled trade, and now you can go back home and teach others the skilled trade. Exactly. This what we've been talking about. This is power. This is power. One of the professors here is from Nigeria. I talked to his daughter in Nigeria sometimes. I asked her a question. She's in the agriculture. She got a PhD from agriculture here. I asked her a question one time years ago. I said, why did you start with agriculture and not information technology? She said, agriculture, you have to feed people. In order to feed people, you have to have a process of how food is distributed. I never thought about it like that until she broke it down to me. And so agriculture is very important. It is very important. I mean, we see it in, you buy apples, you buy pineapples, you buy this, you buy that, and we take advantage of it until we realize how people, you go to Brazil, they have ethanol. Now, ethanol is made out of, right. And they've been doing that in Brazil for almost 30 years. That's an economy there. I remember going to Mississippi where my son's grandmother is, and this is years ago. And in Mississippi, they grow corn, a lot of corn. So a lot of the black farmers in Mississippi, the casinos down there were buying them out because what they were doing with the corn was they was taking them to processing units and creating gasoline out of them. That's what I mean by Africa is the center of the universe. It is. And with a young population on the continent of Africa, we are up next. So when I educate African Americans about the importance of investing on the continent, spin the wheel, pick a country, investing on the continent, whether it's education, agriculture, information technology, and the basics, electricity, water, sanitation, these are basics. Infrastructure, roads, good governance, so you can eliminate corruption. Financial technology like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to eliminate corruption and have a 21st century way of doing things. Can you imagine having a fintech, which is growing in Africa, continent-wide, a fintech system that's tied in with agricultural business? That's where we're going. But it takes you in this room, us, to move the needle forward. So I'm with you 100%, trust me. And I hope that we could create our own ecosystem globally, because that's what our organization is about, is creating an ecosystem globally. Just because we're here don't mean we can't reach out to you. In fact, before I forget, because I run my mouth up in here all night, before I forget, take my email down. Everybody take my email down. NABA. N as in net.
Naba. NABA.
NABA. don't know if anybody can see this. NABATODAY@gmail.com. NABATODAY. NABATODAY@gmail.com. You may email me day or night, anytime, ask any questions. You can say hi to me, or you can say, I am trying to get a container here to Detroit. How do I do it?
Okay.
Guess what? I'll have an answer for you.
But question before you run.
Her name is
No,
Deborah.
you got 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll do the.
Oh no, I just want to get my email because I know I'll walk out of here and be like, you know what? I can get my contact information.
Yeah, usually at the end we started to have a little bit less formal, so we can get up and talk.
That's fine.
So if you don't mind a few minutes.
No, that's fine. Oh no, that's fine. Yes, ma'am. Her name is Deborah. That's why I like her so
Deborah,
much.
yeah.
So I like her so much because my mom's name is Deborah. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just before you finish, give us pointers. Which countries have successfully exported from Africa to the US in agriculture? And what probably, I know maybe Brazil brings in a lot of nuts or what, but what is coming for now?
There is a list.
Okay, are you checking the website?
You can go on a GOA website. There's an entire list
Okay.
of countries that the U.S. do business with in terms of agriculture, including Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, definitely Rwanda.
Okay.
Rwanda has a better economy than Michigan. Did y'all know that?
Okay.
I'm not even, see, the thing is, we have to, let me just say this. Our young people on the continent have to change the perception of Africa as a whole, no matter where you're from. When I tell African Americans here that Rwanda has a better economy than Michigan, they say, okay, what plane do we need to get on? Ethiopia? because they don't know. And it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
They don't know. Ghana is an emerging market in West Africa. That's why the president said a year of the return. If you're an African American, come home to Ghana, get your dual citizenship, and do business here in Ghana. Now, some young people need to fight for that in Kenya. Some people need to fight for that in Tanzania. Get dual citizenship with African Americans. Uganda. You mentioned African Americans need to invest in Uganda to close that trade deficit. Part of that is get dual citizenship. When you start talking about dual citizenship, trust and believe me, in the age of Trump, we're all trying to get out of here. We're all trying to get out of here. I told my son graduated from the University of Africa next week. I told my son, you graduate. We're going to take photo ops. You go this way, I go this way.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep bringing up perception.
Yes.
You know, we have a long legacy
Yes.
across the diaspora that we have to break through. Whether it's Michigan and Jersey, or Rwanda and Kenya, like we have to break through those things because we all are at this point where we need to get to the next level.
Yes.
And we cannot get there without each other.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
We cannot get there without each other.
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question. The president of the association, how are you going to make sure that you help us young farmers to import our products? Because feed sometimes is expensive, and we feel this is for rich people who already have money. So how can you get that opportunity for us to actually break in?
Small scale farmers for
So-
that matter.
What I would do is connect you. What's the import-export office here in the U.S. And also at the state level, the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. That's the state agency here. We can get that conversation going to ensure that you can bring it to the market here. Okay.
Second question.
Oh,
you talked about having a library in
Pemba and Zanzibar.
we also have a project that I think we should have some private discussion.
Okay.
And see how we can solve that.
Not a problem. Let's make it happen. This young man right here, hold on, I'm gonna get you, let me just say this. This young man right here, you see what colors he's wearing?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's what I told him to come, all right.
Tanzania.
Mimi ni baba kubwa.
Okay.
And he's here in Lansing. He's here in the local area.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Willie Davis. I run a museum called All Around the African World Museum and Resource Center. And I go to Dar es Salaam every year. We have a friendship city with Lansing, linkage. And so I go every year. And I work with a group of young lady entrepreneurs who have been given loans to start small businesses.
Wow.
And as part of our charge and work with people. So he invited me, so I just thought I would come. I wasn't aware that you guys were meeting, or ladies were meeting. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm very excited to hear a nice talk from you, but also from my colleagues. Yeah, I have learned a lot. And with Tanzania, we have irrigation schemes, and we produce a lot of rice.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked about rice here, they told me there is no rice produced here in Michigan.
Right.
I would like to know whether, you would like to have rice from Tanzania or East Africa as well.
Yes.
And we can say we have a lot of products, but then maybe there are some products which you don't need people from Michigan. Then we need to know which list of products do you miss. And as Blair said, people are suffering, they have no food. But then we need to know which food specifically do you like to, for us to.
So do me a favor, do me a huge favor. You have my email.
Yes.
If you can email me that question,
Yes.
and then I can give you an answer.
Yeah.
Any questions? Again, any questions you have that we didn't cover, you can email me. I'll get you an answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Connect.
Anything else?
You have 15 minutes, guys.
So-
Better make use of him.
Two things.
Because I may go away like a phantom in the night. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Don't
joking.
worry. Two things. First, we're gonna thank you for coming. Thank you also. And we were gonna ask you all the questions, because we're gonna have our listening questions. Really quickly, so I won't be with you all tomorrow when you go to Detroit. You're going to the Charles Wright Museum.
All right.
Remember, that's my wheelhouse, African American culture and history and its connection to Africa. So write down your questions. You're gonna see a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And it's gonna be information overload. So write down your questions and come ask me any and every question you have about what you see. It doesn't matter how big or small. Feel free to talk to me about it, because that museum is really heavy to go through.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, meaning emotionally, my personal person.